All right, so we are live. So guys, this is Bonnie Bonadeo. She is a speaker, coach, an author, radio host. You have done so much. I so enjoyed your talk last week. So I'm going to read her opening, but I'm also going to pick points out because I know what it takes to write an opening, and I know that every single word is important. It takes to come up with your vision statement, to come up with your, and this is what you teach other people. So I
Yes.
really want to hone in on that I'm not just going to blow through her bio and then ask her random questions because these words mean something. So Bonnie is known as the brand connection coach. She's helped thousands of clients as a brand coach and consultant to transform their purpose, build a solid brand that showcases their business as value-driven and unique. That is huge because we're individuals. Even if we're with a salon or a company, we are individuals, and that value-driven and unique. So I'm going to keep reading, but I'm going to come back to these points. Now, as a Story Brand certified guide, if you don't know what Story Brand means, if you haven't read Story Brand, if you haven't been on Story Brand with Donald Miller, you need to, because you need to understand the concept of who you are in your story, especially if you're going to show up online. You have to have a solid, clear voice. She's an emotional intelligence coach. Google emotional intelligence. It's so important. And life coach. Bonnie believes in investing time to uncover your personal and professional brand, which is key to a successful business and life. Because if mama not happy at home, mama not happy at work, and everything matters. Everything matters. And so how you show up and who you want to be, it has to be authentic. I tried it for years. I had this high-end salon and I was Miss High-End and I would dress high. I'm like, no, this is me. I'm a little wacky. And I finally have accepted myself. Bonnie is the host of Beautiful Brands, Inside and Out radio show, president of the Beauty Agent Network, and her own brand, Bonnie Bonadeo. She was one of the 2013 Enterprising Women and graced a 2016 cover of Salon Today. She is a certified emotional intelligence speaker and a six-time best-selling author of Success in Beauty series, Empowering You, Transforming Lives, The Power of 50, and Experts and Influencers, Leadership Edition, and more. A beauty business leader with over 30 years of experience working with multiple brands, inside beauty and out, because branding is everything. Bonnie speaks authentically on her struggles and successes as a person. We all have them, and they all matter. They're part of our story. To foster growth and awareness in others, and embodies her brand of, this is my favorite statement, connecting you to you so you can connect with others. And everything, this is my heart, and I'm so glad you're doing it. What do you want to talk about first?
Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you for the gracious opening first and foremost. I think that we probably just need to start with the fact that, we're humans and we're evolving and we have to constantly reinvent ourselves. And sometimes that growth and that evolution and reinvention, whatever you want to call it, sometimes we get lost. And it's really hard to kind of come back to who we really are and what we really offer and what that contribution is that we give to our community, to the people that we love, to the people that we serve. And I'm not talking about doing hair. I'm talking about that truth that you, as who you are as a person. And, that's that constant growth of you. But everything then on the outside that we're growing, you got to keep up with. And it's hard. I mean, I've had my ups and downs. I mean, I've been at this business as an entrepreneur for 10 years, and I have been fabulously successful and dirt broke. And, part of it is because, I see trends as being a marketing and branding, person. I see trends. I try to jump on those trends. But I don't always win with the trends. And, and listen, technology can move way faster than I can. And so usually what happens is that some of these trends end up having solutions to them that are tech-based. And then that kind of, puts me in, kind of in the back seat of it. And then I have to kind of reinvent myself again. And I think anybody that's in this industry, even if you've done hair for the 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, or 2 years, you have to constantly know that evolution is a must, because
Yes.
you will get stagnant if you don't learn, if you don't grow. And we're in the people business. So it's not just learning techniques and skills. It's also learning the emotional and communicative and mental side of the work that we do in dealing with the public. I think I never hear anybody ever say that, Gretchen. I don't know about you, but I listened to one of your broadcasts a couple of weeks ago, and you were talking about, that it's not just the bridal hairdo, it's managing the bride. Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of reason why people don't want to do that type of work, because it's very stressful and they don't feel competent in the management of emotions versus the technical skill of an updo.
And it's not rocket science, we have so many signals, you read personality, you've got to do it with your clients, you've got to read their image, you've got to read their mood, you've got to read the teen who needs a haircut, but I think there's so much coming at you with bridal that you can get overwhelmed, and that's why I create systems. That's why I've written a couple books.
Listen, it's the solution.
Systems. Absolutely.
I mean, I say that, everything that I do, when you first introduced me, it was, let you say I'm a speaker, coach, author, radio host. I'm a podcaster now. My radio, I kind of converted over to a podcast. And all of that energy goes into 3 buckets of speaking, branding, and leadership. So that's those 3 areas that I spend my time in, just like you spend your time in bridal and updo work. Mine is in speaking, branding, and leadership. And I can tell you that in all 3 of those buckets that I spend my time in, whether I'm speaking, coaching, writing a book on it, or broadcasting something on a podcast, it's the same formula that I use in all of those. So I have a system set up to be able to have me be successful no matter what I'm dealing with in that moment, what that conversation is, whether it's I need to promote something, whether I need to go do a speaking engagement or come online to Zoom like this, or lead people in a live program. I use the same formulas over and over again. Yes. And they're emotionally intelligent based, and of course story brand based, because that's where I get the structure. Mm-hmm. And that's where success comes in, is being able to duplicate systems, being able to duplicate structure. That's when you have success. And I don't know, from the industry standpoint, because we've been in it a long time. I say 30 years, but I actually think this year is 39 years that I will have been a licensed cosmetologist. And although I haven't practiced hair in about 10 of those years, I mean, I still do my family. They love the hair I do for them, right? Still do my family. But, I'm not active behind the chair, but I'm active in salons with salon owners. So I am the marketing director for my fiance's salon. I coach salon owners. I coach stylists. I coach suite rent stylists. And of course I do all kinds of programs for anybody in the industry, no matter what your role is. And it makes a lot of sense. And, we've seen a lot of changes in our industry over 30 something years.
Absolutely. And when you're working currently, and someone who's listening now, and if you watch now that we've said the word story, they're going to hear the word story everywhere. They're going to hear it in podcasts. They're going to hear it on YouTube. They're going to hear it. What's your story? What's your story? What's your brand? And so having a personal identity of who you are as a person, how you want to show up, having a personal identity for your salon. Now, obviously, my salons, my clients always knew brides came first. Like Saturdays, I'd be doing weddings, and they were fine. They would just get their hair done another day because I'd be gone. And they were fine with that. That was what happened at my place, and certainly with the proms. So if a stylist is listening and they're in a salon or they're suite renter, what would you tell them to look at themselves? What would you ask them? What maybe journaling prompts, or what would you say to them to help them discover who they are?
It's kind of the inside part of who you are, what I consider the internal and the external part of who you are. And so a real easy analogy to be able to do that is kind of like, just imagine that you're a bottle of shampoo. And, this bottle of shampoo is, has this great packaging on the outside, but it's kind of crap ingredients on the inside. It's just stuff that's thrown together, doesn't really perform that well, but it looks good. So people kind of buy it a couple times because they think it's supposed to be good if it looks that good, right? And the lack of integrity on the inside could just be that maybe somebody's not trained enough. Maybe they need more training. Maybe they just have, low self-esteem and they just need to have further training again in different areas to be able to kind of build up their confidence level. Maybe this isn't for them. Maybe they're just really struggling with the skill set. Maybe they haven't found the right place to be able to call home and learn and grow and feel like they're part of a family. So all those things can be factors. But then if you flip that story around and you say, all right, so you've got this great ingredient deck of fabulous stuff, and you put it inside this generic looking bottle, and it's, it's harder to be able to kind of sell. It's sitting on the shelf. It might be collecting dust a little bit, but there's really good stuff on the inside. And again, it's not, it's not intentional maybe that they had to go with, cheap packaging on this particular shampoo. They put all their money into the ingredients. And it could be you, the stylist, that you put all the money into being able to be educated to do the work, but somehow your brand is not sticking in your community. It's not reaching anybody. And part of that reach is you being able to develop some really good, simple stories that fall into two different categories. One being authentic stories, and the other one being authority stories. How is it that you are the expert? And when you can start piecing together those little mini stories that you start to share, you use them for advertising, you use them for social posts, for Facebook Live, any of those type of things, people start getting sticky to you. They start attracting to you because, first of all, you're showcasing a personal side, yourself. You're exposing yourself a little bit. And secondly, you're kind of treating yourself as a business within a business. And
that's huge.
And that's really, for years we've struggled with this in the industry. It's like the owner might own the salon and own the systems that are in the salon and own the client data, but the stylists are in there working very hard to build their personal clientele over the years. And so, that age-old fight of who owns the clients? Well, nobody owns the client as far as I'm concerned. The client, can choose to go where they want, but it's a valid point on either side in regards to that. Yeah. So if you're somebody that's working in a salon, find what separates you from the others. Like, you might be good at updos. You might be good at men's haircutting. You might be fabulous with children. Maybe you're not trying to build a child clientele, but maybe you're just really good with children. And you never know where these things can lead you when you realize something that's comfortable for you that you can easily do over and over and over again. Build that persona, build that brand around that one thing. Now, everybody freaks out when I say that and they say, oh, but I don't want to just be known for that. And it's like, you're not known for that. Obviously, you're doing other stuff. I just said I'm a speaker, coach, author, and podcaster, okay? But I market strategically in each of those areas to be able to continue to build me as a brand. And those are sub brands under my main brand.
Right. Right.
That I have to keep building it. So you just have to, first of all, if you market to everybody, you market to nobody, because
Right.
today algorithms will kick your ass.
Yes, that's for sure.
And you know, algorithms back in the day when we did direct mail pieces was you might have went into a neighborhood that maybe wasn't as affluent to the prices you were charging at your salon. That would be an algorithm that is not working. Okay. Today, all of this is all automated and it's all high tech, and we have to get better at having a very clear message with less confusion to be able to attract the person that you want to come in and be in your chair and be that longtime loyal client.
Absolutely. It's so, in my mind, say someone wants to be a colorist and they want to do those fun colors, and the salon doesn't carry the fun colors. They don't want to invest in the fun colors, but you want to experiment or whatever. The idea of, you know, understanding that young people coming into the salon's not going to age out with the clientele.
Mm-hmm.
Have an intelligent, prepared conversation with the owner saying, I'd like to do a model night with the local high school, and, you know, create some buzz, some social media. And so you're not just going to be the unicorn hair colorist forever, but you're going to get people in the door. And if the teens are happy, they're going to bring the moms. And
Mm-hmm.
so these ways of doing something, I was super prom heavy for years. Like, I love the teens. And that's why I created a system so I could do 3 heads at once, so I could get more kids in, because I enjoyed it so much and I wanted to make money at it. So, but that was a season until my book, and then this and that. And so we have seasons. We have that reinventing, like you talk about, conversations with the owners, or if you want to up your game and you want to maybe commute to a further away salon that's triple the prices of what you're getting over here, then this plan, be one of those secret shoppers. Go there and get your nails done. Go there and get a blowout. Like, see how they're dressed. Like, you can become anything you set your mind to, and brand yourself, change your clothes, change how you are showing up. You don't have to feel that way first. You can create that, and the feeling and the confidence will come.
Yeah.
And it's fun, you know, to reinvent yourself.
I hate that expression, fake it till you make it, but I'm
sorry, but it works.
There's truth to it.
I know.
And here's the thing. I don't want you to fake it till you make it. I want you to trust that you can grow into it. So,
yes.
You know, that analogy I used of the bottle of shampoo, you could be the best ingredient shampoo going and have crappy packaging, but only because you need to evolve more. Yes. But you're going to fake it till you make it, because eventually you're going to be able to get that really fantastic packaging on the outside. And then you're going to be a synchronistic, integral match for more people, because who you are on the inside is showcased on the outside. And that's what people look for. You know, in this whole emotional intelligence part, Gretchen, people pick up on fear. People pick up on drama. People pick up on insecurities fast, way before we do as the other person. The recipient can sense all of that. So, and then their body language and their words and their actions are going to start expressing that back to you. So, you know, all these situations that I see on these salon forums and all this stuff people are writing, if we were all more emotionally intelligent, we would have better conversations with all of those clients and not have as many of these dramatic episodes that are happening all the time. And we have to always remember that we're the consumer too. You know, always put yourself in the consumer's shoes. Sometimes they're uneducated. Sometimes they don't know what they want. Sometimes they don't know how to express what they want. And as professionals, we just need to be better at communicating. Because I promise, all of you listening right now probably have the skills to do the work.
I break it down. I say you need 85% is all these skills and 15% is technical. Some people say 70-30.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Absolutely.
Because I was never a great hairdresser. I mean, I was good, but I wasn't great, you know, like, and I did have a lot of fear in regards to trying new things, but I'd always figure it out, or I'd go to an educational program and learn so I could figure it out. But my hands were not necessarily like what I wanted to do here, and what came out here were usually a little off. And it wasn't my most creative experience being a hairdresser, but because I love the people and I love the industry and I love, you know, the how we can really make an impact on people's lives. You know, we really do help them to feel good, look good. We change lives. I mean, I truly believe that. And because of all of that, I went into the business side of the industry. And I found that my real love for creativity was, you know, in developing programs, in, you know, speaking and training. And that's where I ended up being way more creative than, you know, working on a head of hair. So, you know, I found my niche in it, but, you know, again, I'm lucky for all of the different things that I've done in this industry, but it's, you know, it's ever evolving. And at this point, at 39 years, I swear, sometimes I end my day in my office after creating something or preparing for something. And I'm like, oh, and I'll read some things on Facebook. And I'm like, I'm so irrelevant. Oh my gosh, I can't keep up with, you know, what's going on. And I'm
going to say I'm going to say you are ahead of the curve.
Oh, thank you.
No, honest to goodness, because we have a mental health practice. My husband and I, for 15 years, I left the industry. So from 2005 to 2015, we lived at 2 residential rehabilitation homes. And I was working with the women and trauma. And then in the second home was a men's home. And I was kind of like the cook and the house mom and, you know, the female ear for them. And so I would literally have to kind of help people with life skills and reinvent themselves. So what's happening, what we're seeing with the young people, you hear statements like, girl, you just do you. You be you. Well, you at 23 cannot be the same you at 43. Because if you are, you're not evolving.
Right. Yeah. That's definitely somebody that doesn't have the, you know, the right ingredient deck on the inside or the outside yet. But you still have to trust that you have good people skills. Yes. And that you can get through all of this customer service side of our industry with ease. Yeah. And this is really the area that I see we have to get better at. And with the way the landscape is today, you know, you still got the chain salons, you got the independent booth renters and the suite renters, freelance people, you know, like what you do and what some of my friends do in this industry. And then you have the traditional salon type of thing. And, you know, it's so fragmented today that what we don't have is good leadership in the industry in general. And what we don't have is that mentoring system that you and I got brought up in. You know, there's no way, there's no way that I could learn the things that I learned when I first started out if I didn't have some really savvy stylists working next to me that were always there to help, that would happily, you know, help me with formulas and help me with things that I didn't know at the time. Right. And I feel for these younger people that are coming into this industry that don't have that team mentor, that you know, that ability to be able to learn from somebody that has more experience. So that leaves you guys then in a position to say, you have to go out and get educated. And you have to invest time and money and energy into being better educated, because you may not be in an environment that is set up as, you know, a hierarchy or a mentorship or in-house training in a sense.
Yeah, there's a component of also being hungry and being brave. And when I wanted to move into a higher end salon, like my updos went from $65 to $350. And then when I went freelance, my minimum was $500. This is 20 years ago. So it's possible, but you have to set yourself up for that and have a plan. And it doesn't just mean also in the industry. So reading books on persuasion language, reading books on people reading books on if you want to just listen better. So really you just need to talk less,
Oh yeah, that's always the trick. Say less.
Yeah, and
if you're going to talk, ask questions and be curious.
Yes, ask curiosity. I would say that's the thing that is when I've tried to go and do my own story and like, okay, and I think back to my childhood, I've been very curious. I don't have fear. So even with my husband today, we're thinking of helping my daughter buy a house, and he's coming up with all the fearful statements, and I'm coming up with all the big dreaming. And so we balance each other out.
Yeah.
So you are who you are, but you need that person. And there are the groups on Facebook now do have all these mentoring programs. But I find that people are afraid, like they think they have to show up already knowing something, or they're afraid to look dumb, or they're afraid to not look smart. And you can't do that.
Have that. Trust that as human beings, we all feel that way. And there's moments that, we're not going to be at our best. But there's also those courageous moments that we have to kind of push ourselves through it and be able to say, I'm going to stay stuck. I'm going to just give up. I mean, we can't. It's not in our nature to do that either. But it is very natural for people to feel insecure, uneducated, and so much of it is where we go into kind of like that personal branding part. Like what's your real essence? What is your contribution? And usually, it's something that people don't really want to emphasize about themselves, like something that happened to them or something that they grew up with or they had an experience with that they try to avoid. But the truth is that's what made them very strong and courageous and independent. And that's what their contribution is.
Absolutely.
Being able to overcome that.
Absolutely. You could find your strength in that side of your story and in that struggle. You hear it all the time. You can't watch a single podcast or influencer on YouTube and not hear their story, whether it's an accident or it's an abuse, or there's everything can be spun around and used for good and for strength. And it's like, my mother thought she was going to have 2 children that went to Tufts or something. Like she was just on this track for in college. And my brother and I both ended up being artists. Both of us dropped out of college. But she would tell me as a child, she would say, Gretchen, if you keep bringing home C's, you're going to end up a hairdresser. And so I literally entered the field with this level of shame. Now I carry no shame today, and I'm not shaming anyone else, but she kind of implanted that. That shame drove me to I'm going to be the best hairdresser. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to write a book. And it drove me. And then in that driving, I evolved as a person. So that was a negative thing that became positive.
Yeah. Very good.
And then I certainly had to learn balance, because you could be a workaholic. So
that's ever evolving too, right?
Yeah. But if you find if you really don't like people, but you love updos, then switch over to editorial. Ask questions. Call, anyone who would ever call me, I would be on the phone with you for an hour for free. Honestly, I will help you figure out bridal. If you want to do editorial, go there. If you want to do business, like for you, I saw it in hairdressing school. I would watch the girls and half the girls like, oh, I hate hair, I love nails. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't stand nails. Sitting there in one little chair with my head down, like, no, I got to be moving around. I want to know the dress. I want to know the event, you know. So do you, but then go outside of your bubble and do you at the next level. Because I would say human beings are human beings. Just because someone wrote a book, they run a podcast, they call them up, message them.
Yeah.
When I first had to do my book, the publishers, it was my lady Salon Ovations back then. We want you to interview people all across the country. And I'm like, oh crap, like cold call. This is before Facebook and Google. Cold call salon owners and say, I need to interview you. And your teeth are chattering. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to sound like an idiot. I should have my questions written out and I should not keep them on the phone very long. And then that transitioned to, I want to work with high-end hotels and do weddings. I got to go speak to that wedding planner. Don't waste their time. Be direct. So you can learn this stuff when you know what you want and you reach outside of your bubble and your salon and your world and you talk to people like you listen to podcasts, you connect, you read. People are so generous and we're just like them. They're just like us.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And listen, as fragmented as our industry is right now, it doesn't matter, you know, because our role is to be able to serve clients and help them to feel beautiful. And we have to be able to figure out how to add more value to the service that we're doing. And it doesn't mean adding more color, adding more techniques, adding more, you know, conditioning treatments. Adding value is really being present with people. And sometimes that's hard for us. You know, sometimes we have busy days or we have bad days, but that value of really being present with somebody and really allowing them to feel heard and, you know, checking in with them. I know a lot of times people are like fearful of, you know, oh, do you like it? Oh, or they'll say something like, oh, it looks great on you, but they don't really ask the client, how do you like it? Because we're afraid to hear the answer, you know?
Yes. And you know it and you numb it. And it's like, you wonder why she leaves in 2 months.
Yeah, right. Or that she never came back or that she left a bad review or whatever these things are. But be more present with the people because today it's really difficult. We're not very present as it is. You know, we're on our devices, we're on our phones, we're on Zoom, we're doing all this stuff that we're just not paying attention, you know, to people around us. And when your clients are in that chair, you know, you really have the opportunity to build lifelong clients. You have the opportunity to, you know, to have suggest that they try new things or different things or come back sooner and all of these things that build a living for you. Because we're not in this, you know, to just make people feel beautiful. We're in this to also make and earn a living. You know, I mean, there isn't anybody out there that doesn't want to be able to live in a nice place and drive a nice car. These things we should have, you know, as hard as we work. So there's all of that here. I see Trevor's on. I pulled it up on my phone here and he says, he feels like he's been thrown into the wolves and he wish he could get that mentorship. Well, listen, there is ways to get that mentorship, Trevor. And it is really just kind of, you know, jumping into following people like Gretchen and myself on the, you know, the online things that we're doing. It's how we're able to provide mentorship today. You know, it might not be right next to you in the salon and more technically savvy, but there are plenty of people that are doing some really great things to be able to help you out.
Yep. Hi, Trevor. When you said that when you're talking value and this whole new term, experiential marketing, one of my nephews is in Arizona and he's working for Carvana, those vending car machine thingies. So I had this great conversation at Christmas, like Stephen, this is just marketing. This is just marketing. It's a new way to deliver the car, you know? And so this experiential, it doesn't mean you have to buy the high-end coffee machine and start serving wine, and you're giving them an experience by, like, if you have to take notes take notes.
Yeah.
My husband's a therapist. He takes notes. People
I take notes.
take notes.
I don't ever work with a client without
Yes,
taking
and
notes.
take the card out before they come, even if it's a haircut. Like, how was that event you went to? Did your husband get that raise? Like, did you try on that new dress? Like, make it about them. We are not, sometimes we think if they laugh and we're entertaining to them, that they like us. But some people laugh out of anxiety and nervousness. And we need to give them that experience where they feel heard and they feel listened to, and you show them, you know, your makeup is beautiful, but I'm going to show you your skin tone and my skin tone, and like, you really have cool tones and you're not warm. Like, take a color class. Like, there's so many things you can do
Just to enhance value, for sure.
just to enhance the value. And I have a hashtag. It's called Do Life with Your Clients. And if you're doing life with your clients, you're in their life, you're paying attention, you know what's coming up for them, and you're already thinking how to improve their life. You're not just thinking how to sell them. You're going to sell them,
Right.
but you're thinking how to improve them. And they're
Yeah.
feeling loved. And people need that. People need to feel special. They need to relax. They need to feel special. If your client's not a talker, I knew who my talkers were and I knew who my talkers weren't. You want to fall asleep during your haircut? I'll be quiet. If you want to learn, you know, the latest trends, I'll be that person. So it's really that reading the client and being there for them.
Being more present, being more emotionally intelligent, you know, like trusting yourself and less reaction, you know, which is not easy for everybody. It's not easy for me. My first instinct to react is, you know, to go into fight mode. That is my reaction.
Yeah.
But I'm aware of that. I'm
Yes.
aware that that is my go-to response when things aren't going well. And I really have to manage that part of me in order to kind of trust that, is this really a big deal? Do I need to make a big deal out of this right now? Can I just move forward without doing anything? Does it need to be dealt with tomorrow and not today when I'm less emotionally attached to it? You know, all of those things are factors in that. But one of the things that drives me crazy in this industry right now is that we're spending all this time texting with clients and expecting a beautiful communication to come out of it. And we all know this. Come on. We all know that texting it's always going to be perceived as a very not professional approach to communication.
The point is, and I'm going to make this as a mental health professional, people have their filter. Yeah. You can text the same thing to 6 different people and it comes through their own filter. And someone will react, someone will respond, someone will read into it, someone will be like, what's she getting at? And then it escalates, and you have to, and I know my friend Dawn from Bridal Business School, you have to call your bride. She has to hear your voice. She has to hear that you're calming. Your client would love a call. Boy, if you want to ratchet up the value, you're going to
confirm
learn
your
how to have those
appointments.
Communications. Yes.
Yeah, it's like, oh, another client's late. I'm going to charge them a cancellation fee or a late fee. And it's like, yeah, but do you have systems in place that are confirming them? And then
Yes.
Do you know for fact why they had to reschedule or cancel? Do you know what the fact is? Because if you don't know the facts, you can't compromise and be present and compassionate under those circumstances that do come up. You know, I mean, No mother is going to choose her hair appointment. Well, no good mother is going to choose her hair appointment over her child being sick.
Right.
It's all of these things are going to be factors, and they're going to happen. And frankly, this is the time of the year where you have to kind of expect some of these crazy things to start happening and trust that, you know what, it's a circumstance that's beyond my control, beyond their control. But every time when I see this, 99% of the time that people post their texting stuff with their clients on those forums, 99%, I can tell you it's the stylist's fault of why the client reacted the way that they did. And it's because they triggered a behavior in it by trying to be right instead of being curious as to what really is the underlying issue to what's happening.
Yeah, they react instead of respond. And that thing that you talked about, when I was a salon owner, I would be like, all right, in 3 days, I know I'm not going to feel how I feel today. So I would mentally and emotionally put myself 2 to 3 days forward and know that all this emotional storm that was going in me, and I have a trauma background, I have a Me Too story, so I know how I react. I know, I know myself well enough, and I've taken up meditation because my husband's practicing it now. These things matter. And what client triggers you? What particular client triggers you? Because that's you. You have buttons. Your buttons are showing. If you're responding or reacting, your buttons are being triggered. And now that's up to you to learn what your buttons are.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's the greatest lesson in life you could do, is discover what are those triggers that have you not be at your best, that then you have to trust that you've created a circumstance in a situation that isn't going well, and the finger needs to be pointed back at you.
Yep.
Yeah.
One finger.
Listen, and clients are crazy today. Listen, consumers are crazy today. We are demanding. We want what we want when we want it. I mean, we are all in that capacity as well. We have to be in our own shoes as the consumer as well. So we have to continually be smarter, more savvy, more value driven. And where it was like, call the bride. Oh my God, of course you have to call the bride, because this is a big day for her, and that's a big job, and she doesn't want anything falling through the cracks. So that level of customer service and value seems like a norm, but with a bride, it's like way up here. With your regular clients, it could go down a notch, but not all of them. Some of them expect that same level of service every single time.
I think it's, I had that one client who, well, I talk about this, the different personalities. So the one client who I would want to give her something new, and she'd be like, I don't know, that's going to look good on me. But how am I supposed to know it's going to look good on me? And all right, now I'm dealing with a personality type. She's not visual. She can't see it. I have to step into that place of responsibility and you need to trust me. I know this is going to look good on you.
Right. There's the authority story.
Yes. So that's the authority story. And then this other client knows exactly what she wants, and she'll have me tweak her haircut like for an extra 15 minutes. And I smile and I breathe and I touch her shoulders. Not a problem. I know she's highly anxious. That's her story. Mm-hmm. She can't help it. She's not judging your haircut. She's anxious.
Yeah.
That woman will never leave. She never left me. I moved away and she still messages me on Facebook. She appreciates that value and that understanding. It's not that the haircut wasn't to her liking. And even if it isn't, it's her hair.
Yeah.
But that's her. And so to learn how to separate particular people, and then to stand up to the people who have issues, serious issues, and they're not well.
Right. And those are separate things you have to deal with. You don't put them into policy. You don't clump them into, they're always late, so I'm going to charge all my clients that are late a cancellation fee. You separate those, and you have to have a very courageous conversation with them, because here's the thing. Our behaviors will never change until somebody points out a behavior that needs to be changed.
Yes.
And we're not therapists, we're not professionals a lot of time, but we are supposed to be business people. And you have the right to have a business conversation. But here's the secret to this. If you have a business conversation, you never make it about you. So you don't say, well, you were late, and so I didn't make the money, and I had a hole in my day, and I was counting on that, and I have bills to pay too. Nobody gives a shit. That is not what you do. You create a very curious, this is my formula. Here's my formula that I work with. It starts with connection, you go to compassion, and then you go to curiosity. So connection is always a form of acknowledgement. You acknowledge them. You know, I understand sometimes people are late. So in other words, I've just heard you. I've heard you. I'm not saying, you know, anything. I'm aware, you're aware, the conversation is now on the table. You're going to be compassionate. You know, and sometimes you don't have always the opportunity to cancel in advance or, you know, in a timely fashion. I totally get that. I hope everything's all right. I'm staying in that compassion mode because I don't want to necessarily hear her story, but I want to trust that whatever happened is not going to happen again. I'm going to try to prevent this being a problem client in there. Then I'm going to be curious. So I just want to let you know in the future, I'm happy to call you to confirm appointments or set up a confirmation to make sure that we're confirming our appointments. I'm setting up a system. I am. It's my responsibility to do that, not your responsibility to always show up on time. And if they do become one of those, you know, serial problem clients like that, then you have to have a more serious conversation with them or have policy in regards to that. So yeah, so it's, you know, connection, compassion, curiosity. And those texts that I was saying that, you know, are on those salon forums, none of them have connection. They all start out with, well, you were happy with it when you left. Or, you know, I don't give my prices over text. You need to come in for an appointment or a consultation or something like that. They all start out with them being the predominant person instead of the client being the person to be served. It's like, you serve me. No, I serve you.
Yeah.
I serve you. So how do you shift the conversation to serve people?
Yes. And that's the emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
You are controlling your emotions. You're acting in an intelligent manner. And basically, hello, like that book, I learned everything I learned in kindergarten. You treat people how you want to be treated. Kindness matters, curiosity, patience. And there are people that push, you know, you give them a couple of times and then you have that conversation. So it's like,
but every client's
up.
Worth saving.
Absolutely.
Every client is worth conversing with, and every client you should feel that you can have a courageous conversation with.
Yeah.
And if in the end it doesn't work, then, you know, refer them to somebody else. You know, tell, you know, that at that point it's okay to move on. But listen, you guys, clients are hard to come by. Yeah. So I wouldn't be so easy to be firing clients like what everybody's out there saying. I don't even know where that word came from. First of all, they're clients, they pay us. So there's the word firing is just a total disconnect in proper communication with a client-based service industry that we're in.
Right.
So when you use that language, it's saying you're not worth my time. You don't do a good job for me. And the truth is we're supposed to be doing a good job for them.
Yeah.
So we just have to turn that part of it around and really, really start learning to be more emotionally intelligent, and compassion is always a good place to start.
And especially I love your analogy with the shampoo bottles. And I've had hair like when I moved up to this other salon, the haircuts were $125. And I've heard people say, I know my $25 haircut's just as good as, yes, it might be. So are you a really talented person in a really bad looking shampoo bottle? Then now we work on you. If you think you are that gifted and talented, then let's work on your presence and your emotional intelligence and, you know, giving you a makeover, just like a room or a house. It's an important thing. Even because my husband's a counselor, there's nothing wrong with, I mean, I saw therapists on and off myself for years. So maybe you just need to see a counselor for a few sessions, or coaches are always giving free coaching.
Listen,
call a coach.
Because I mean, I went down the path as well, you know, to work through some stuff. I mean, there's no shame in saying any of that, but really what I found was that a coach was a better alignment with me. And I got what I needed professionally, personally, with a coach. And that was one of the reasons why I became a coach, 15 years ago, was because I saw the value that it did for me, and I still have a coach. Like, I'm never coachless.
Me too.
As a coach, I have to have a coach, and because I want to continue to learn and grow, and I have to be able to bring, new things to my clients as well. And I need to get better.
Yeah. And I think coaching, people don't quite understand. Well, the thing is, you don't know what you don't know. And you don't know how you can be better. And you need a coach. I swear, when my husband and I spent time with this one coach, he did more for our marriage than the marriage counseling we had years ago.
Yes.
Because the coaches deal with the present. They deal with the present. And he
and
just
you got to
made
do some work. There's some work involved.
Yes, there is. There's work in those fierce conversations. There's work in looking at yourself. There's work in paying attention to your triggers. But you will be in, like, I got my license in 1980. You will be in the industry for 40 years and reinventing yourself and constantly having fun at what you love.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love all that I do.
Yeah.
I love all that I create. Sometimes I wish that I would, narrow it down and refine it a little bit more at times. But, I love that I can be nimble in the type of work that I do. And it's, it gives me a lot of joy. And listen, I'm beauty in and out, I'm not going anywhere. I have done things outside the industry. It's a lot easier sometimes. It's a lot easier, but they have the same issues we do. Every industry has the same issues we do. They got a diverse landscape, of what's happening in their particular industry. Technology is affecting it, adversely and positively at the same time. Everybody's challenged by it. And I can tell you that the challenge is always, we got to get better at being with people. We got to get better at just trusting ourselves with people. We got to get better at figuring out ways to better communicate with people. Yes. And, that's where the branding comes in. It's like a personal branding of, I understand who I am, so I can help you be better at who you are. And I know what my skill set is. So my stories authentically are going to connect with you in a way that you're going to see that it's possible, because I'm an example of that. And then my authority stories are going to support you in saying, I've done the work, or I've had the training, and I'm going to walk you through these systems and these steps so that you can get to the place that you want to get to.
Yes. And I agree 100%. And I'm going to flip it for the hairstylists who have missed the technology boat, but they have young people in their salon. And for you to be okay to say, I need a social media manager in my salon, and to go to someone and ask them, would they like to run up that little, what would you do if you wanted to post things about our salon on social media? And you just might find someone who's 20 years your junior, who's just going to blossom at this responsibility and then be willing to teach you a little bit. And so that this coming together on both sides, and to be humble and vulnerable in that respect. Yeah. That we can, because this is the first, I've been doing a lot of research on Generation Z. 93%, the baby boomers, babies, 93% of Generation Z.
Or this baby boomers, babies.
Yes. They own the purse strings. They say to dad and mom, you need this TV because this does this and this, and you need this cell phone, mom, because this does this. So if your salon is going to attract that generation.
Well, that's who we're hiring now.
Yes.
Gen Z is who we're hiring. So if you're not savvy on these generations of the type of people you're bringing in, we need to get real savvy on them. Because, I know we've given the millennial generation a hard time for years, but they are well on their way of figuring everything out. They're fine. They're fine. Their life of entitlement has gone away because they realize how hard they actually have to work to get what they want too. And, you know, these next generations, you know, that have come down the pipeline, they want things to be simpler, but they also want things to be human.
Yes, authentic.
Yeah, they still want the human side of it. Nobody wants to go program anymore. Like, there's more programming positions open than anything, like, you know, like being able to do code, because nobody wants to be doing code all day and not have that personal interaction.
Yes.
So people are wanting to be in management positions. People are wanting to be in positions that really adapt to and include people. And that's exciting. That's exciting. I think the Generation Z is, you know, going to pull it together.
I think so. I think so, because they've grown up with all the tech and they're not as influenced by the influencers, you know, and
no, I think they're going to bring some balance back into it. You know, and there needs to be a little bit more balance back into it.
So I want to wrap up, only because I don't, what time is it? Okay. Yeah, that's about an hour. Perfect.
Yeah.
So, Bonnie, I had so much, like, I'm so glad I found you, and I felt like I've been alone, you know, and to see, for me to come back to the industry, and I've only really been back a year and a half, and to dive in and find you so soon and just to connect. I'm just so happy for that. I mean,
well, welcome back. We need
I love it.
We need your experience. We need your expertise. So welcome back, and by all means, anything I can do for you, please let me know.
Okay. Well, I thank you. So what would you like to leave everyone with?
You know, I have a group that I'd be happy for you guys to join. And here's why I want you to join, because every Wednesday I do these things called What Would You Say or Do Wednesdays. And we really look at applying that formula to some of these things we're up against that we don't quite know how to get in or out of in this communication that we have with other people. And it's free. It's in the group that it's in is Salon Success Summit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So just jump on the Salon Success Summit, you know, at request to be a member, and I'll pop you in there, and then join me every Wednesday at noon. And of course, they're still in there. They're in the, you know, in the group. So if you can't join me at noon on Wednesdays, then just listen to it when you can and comment on it. Try it, see if it helped. If it helped, send me pop me a message in the group, and, you know, let me know that we're doing. And then, of course, for people like Trevor and other people that, you know, that are in that stage where they still feel like they're in that space of learning, you know, we do coaching programs that are online like this, that are set up to be able to be inexpensive and not consume a lot of time, so that you can still have your life and still be learning. But the structure and the systems that you want to adapt to requires you to be in something, you know.
Yes.
Don't just randomly learn this or learn that, or, you know, it's great to be able to do that. But if you really want to get to the next level, it's all about developing a system and structure to be able to stay focused on it and drive that to that level of success that you want.
Yes, it's in coaching people and having been coached, to do your homework, to do what they say, to push through those things is so important, and then you will develop. And that's such great advice to leave everybody with, because again, we don't know what we don't know, and connecting you to you, right? So we can connect with
I mean,
others.
I'm all over it at Bonnie Bonadeo, so find me, direct message me, reach out if you want to. And then I look forward to doing some more things with Gretchen as well.
And please put any links that you want in the comments, Bonnie, and and they'll be able to find them. Anything, any of your programs, any of your websites, just put them in there. And so thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I'm going to say goodnight, and say goodnight to Trevor and Dawn, and anyone else who's going to pick this up in the replay. Thanks for hanging out, guys.